Also, before we begin, I'd like to thank Mr. Gula and Ms. Graybeal for coming to speak to us tonight. Color Tab, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for coming out. We would also like to thank the maintenance staff and Mr. Hill for setting up the courtyard for us to use. And of course, Dion and Mr. Harport for all your hard work on tonight and for guiding us through all the organizing and the planning for tonight. I would also like to thank my co-leader, Zoe Gold, for all of her hard work, and for all the members of Generation X who have worked so hard on tonight. But finally, and most importantly, I want to thank all of you who have come out tonight. You're all so amazing to come out despite homework, sports practices, and other draws on your time. You guys are awesome. Give yourselves a round. According to the 2010 U.S. Justice Department report on sexual violence, approximately 1 in 6 females and 1 in 33 males will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime. However, the worst part about these numbers is that sexual violence is believed to be the most underreported crime in America, with approximately 74% of completed and attempted sexual assaults against females going unreported to the police. The societal stigmas we've created around this topic, especially the blame the victim mentality, make it exceedingly difficult for victims of sexual abuse to share their stories. While many survivors do share their stories, they're often met with animosity rather than support from the community. Given how widespread sexual violence is within our society, this is an issue that must be addressed. According to the same U.S. Justice Department report, approximately 80% of victims of sexual assault knew their attacker. Consent must be freely given, not forced, not coerced, not nagging until the partner gives in. To quote Vice President Biden highlighting the importance of consent, it's never, never, never okay to touch a woman without her consent. Touching her without her consent does not make you a man. It makes you a coward, a flat-out coward. Tonight we are supporting those survivors, both male and female, young and old, gay and straight, who are unable to share their stories. Tonight we show members of our community that we will not simply stand by while sexual violence occurs in our community. Tonight we break the silence surrounding issues of sexual violence. Tonight we stand up and say that no means no and only yes means yes. Tonight we stand up to support the members of our community who are victims and ultimately survivors. Tonight we take back the night. And next we'd like to welcome to the stage our head of school, Mr. Gula.
I really want to begin with this expression of thanks, but also one of hearty congratulations to Tyler, to Zoe, to Generation X, to all who were involved in making this event come together tonight. One of the greatest things about working with high school students is your infectious idealism. Throughout my career, I've found that I'm constantly inspired by students I work with, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, just gaining a sense of themselves, of the world in which they live, and the ability that you all have to change things for the better. All of you keep alive in all of us the passion to make things better, not to settle in and accept an imperfect world or a flawed society.
Over the past few weeks, Generation X asked Blake students and faculty to submit their stories surrounding sexual violence. We received many, which is a reminder that we are not immune to the issue. Tonight, as we rally in support of the people whose lives have been touched by sexual violence, members of Generation X will share excerpts from those stories. These members include Isabel Redleaf, Noah Smith, Cassie Ali, Allie Leslie, Katie Petracki, Bailey Dunning, and Meredith Burns. The stories were submitted anonymously, and the readers are not the authors of the stories. We are thankful to the survivors who have been willing to break the silence around the issue, and we so appreciate their courage. Unfortunately, there were many stories submitted, and more than we could share tonight. But we want everyone who submitted a story to know that we are compiling those stories, and we will be sharing them with Ms. Graybeal, Ms. Adams, as a way of ensuring that those who have the power to take action about this issue are fully aware of how it has touched members of this community. Please know, as we read these few stories, that they are symbolic of so many others' voiced and unvoiced experiences, and that we are listening.
We would now like to welcome to the stage Ms. Graybeal, head of the upper school.
Good evening. The genesis of tonight's event lies not in partisan politics or preening volunteerism or shameless publicity seeking, but in our students' powerful experience in 2 sections of Blake's Gender Studies course last spring. Under the guidance of teachers Amy DeHarport and Diane Cruchon, the juniors and seniors enrolled in the Social Studies elective investigated, debated, and challenged notions of gender in an array of social, political, and economic arenas. Galvanized by that opportunity, those students formed Generation X, a club designed to continue that conversation, both literally and figuratively, beyond the classroom. This group worked to secure Katie Kessner, a national expert on sexual violence, as a speaker at Blake last October. And it was Kessner who, in turn, designated Blake as one of tonight's 10 points of light around the country. I include these details not to crow about Blake or the accomplishments of our students and faculty, but to marvel at this example of the true power of a liberal arts education. Etymologically, liberal arts denotes an education worthy of a free person, one not linked to a practical or vocational purpose. In its purest expression, a contemporary liberal arts education does more than give students the opportunity to study literature, logic, or politics. It gives them the opportunity to study what it means to be human. When schools are at their best, students experience more than a quantitative intellectual steeplechase. They experience a paradigm shift in the way in which they view the world. This shift translates into authentic engagement with that world through action, not mere scholastic posturing. What we see here tonight is an encapsulation of that process, the life of the mind projected in life itself.
We just heard student speakers tonight recount stories that many courageous members of our community were willing to tell. Listening to and believing these stories are 2 steps that we can all take to making our community safer. It's amazing how much power the 3 words, "I believe you," can give back to a victim of sexual assault. Tonight, we affirm that victims of sexual assault are never to blame. To those of you who donated your stories to our cause, thank you. And know that you've made a difference for a lot of people tonight by allowing us to share your experiences. For those of you who listened to those stories and were touched, know that there are things that you can do to make sure no one in your life has those stories to tell. Being here tonight is one of them. By being here, all of you are taking the steps that our community needs to take to eradicate the prevalence and power that sexual violence has. All of you are standing up for those surrounding you and saying that sexual violence will not be tolerated. You are saying that consent for sexual activity must be freely given. You are saying that no means no and only yes means yes. You are saying you refuse to be a bystander, that you are willing to take action. I want to make sure each of you knows how important that is. Thank you for being here and showing your support for survivors and for furthering the prevention of sexual violence in our community. I just want to say one last thank you to all of the members of Generation X and volunteers who have made this night possible. We couldn't have done it without each and every single person who contributed their time.
Somebody